It does feel that way, actually.
Yeah. I'm sure if you go to Diddy's house, it probably feels real weird. Probably feels weird walking around that house. Probably like, what happened here?
Yeah.
I bet there's some memories in that house. You know?
Sounds rough, man.
Well, it's just amazing how many people on the Diddy party list that are supporting Kamala, too.
Yeah, seriously. It's like insane.
Publicly, openly, all in.
Yes. It's like J.Lo was like his ex-girlfriend. and it's like now deciding she's like warning people against Trump. I'm like, well, wait a second. So how many people did she warn against Diddy?
Right.
Oh, 0. Okay.
Right.
Well, maybe we shouldn't trust her opinion.
Diddy's ex-girlfriend urges Americans to trust her judgment. Yeah. By the way, you get to see how bad an actress she is, too. That speech was terrible.
Like if she's going to be warning people, why did she never warn anyone about Diddy?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The whole thing is so strange to watch play out. It seems like the Diddy thing was like an Epstein-type compromise deal, where whether he was doing it himself. Conceivably, people want to think that he's attached to some intelligence agency or something like that. I think he's a gangster who made $1 billion and knew how to control people by compromising them.
J.Lo is just, I don't know. Every man she's been with has said the same thing, except for Diddy. Diddy's the only one that said she was a great girlfriend and how he wish he hadn't messed it up.
Nah.
How is that the only man in her life that had regrets about their relationship and everybody else ran for the hills? Like, it's not nobody noticing that everybody else that's left her, she was too this, she was this, she was that. But Diddy said she was perfect.
Yeah, maybe she was meant for the metal.
What happens if you're only perfect for the devil?
God.
What the does that make you?
Damn.
Jennifer Lopez, when she's finally held accountable for the part she played in the harm that was put on Natanya Rubin's life.
Do you think they'll bring up charges on Jennifer Lopez?
They better. She committed perjury. And the attorney that was representing the defense side of that suborned perjury. Last time I checked, there's no statute of limitation on perjury. We can start there. Let's bring Jenny to the cell block. She's been to every other block.
Sometimes they'll open up a case to bring light on other cases. Do you feel the Shine, the club night with him and Jennifer Lopez will come back to light?
Oh, absolutely, it has to.
Well, Diddy's going to be in jail for the rest of his life. I think he's probably going to get.
Think he's in a saying though?
I don't know. I don't even think it matters. I mean, it's a lot of it is.
But then it's just another Epstein. It's another Ghislaine Maxwell, where somebody gets indicted and nobody else indicted for trafficking kids to
no one.
If they had handled up on Diddy back in 1999, like they should have.
Yeah.
And it not just went to a civil case that got swept under the rug, to which, by the way, she's still waiting to be paid from Shine.
Wow.
Shine still has not paid her his portion of the judgment. But he's got a documentary.
I sacrificed my career and life and family to be someone with humanity, with integrity, with honor.
Yeah.
Lying about why he went to jail.
Damn.
25 years this woman has been telling the truth. 25 years everybody knows what happened to her. And they're still minimizing what happened. That's the woman from the pow-powing back in 1999, the night that Jennifer Lopez was there.
Wow.
The night that Jenny from the block through the window. Imagine how she felt when that documentary.
Joe Rogan couldn't stay silent any longer. Sitting at the mic, he leaned forward, voice sharp and focused. You mean to tell me Jennifer Lopez, one of the biggest stars in the world, knew Diddy for decades and said nothing? He didn't even try to hide his frustration. To Rogan, silence wasn't innocence. It was protection. Protection for a man the world was finally seeing for who he really was. Rogan pulled up old red carpet photos, interviews, and performances. Jennifer and Diddy weren't just connected, they were inseparable for years. They dated, they partied, they were front page news, and now, with all the disturbing details coming out, Joe couldn't wrap his head around how Jennifer managed to say absolutely nothing. She was there, he said. She saw more than anyone else, so why is she still quiet? Clip after clip played on the screen. Rogan watched old interviews where J.Lo smiled next to Diddy while rumors swirled around them. Even after their relationship ended, she stayed connected, working in the same industry, sharing mutual friends, attending the same elite events. There's no way she didn't hear things, Joe said. She had a front row seat, so what was she really seeing? Joe replayed a clip from an award show where Diddy proudly introduced Jennifer as his girl. She looked proud, happy. Rogan paused the video. That's someone standing next to a man who was already building his empire through fear, secrecy, and control. So now we're supposed to believe she didn't know anything? He wasn't buying it. When you're that close to someone for that long, you either know what's going on or you choose not to see it. And Jennifer, she chose to look the other way. Rogan pointed out that even after Jennifer and Diddy split, she never said a word about their time together, not even when others started to come forward. There were so many chances, he said. She could have used her platform to warn the next generation to say, hey, this guy's not who you think he is, but she stayed silent. And that silence, Joe argued, helped Diddy keep his image clean. People trusted him because people like J.Lo stood by him. That kind of silence is powerful. It makes the victims feel crazy. It makes the abuser feel untouchable. He brought up how Jennifer reinvented herself, America's sweetheart, a mother, a brand, but the past never really goes away. You can't build a legacy on top of silence, not when that silence helped shield someone like Diddy. Rogan didn't stop there. He questioned why J.Lo hadn't made even a basic public statement as lawsuits piled up and victims spoke out. She's had decades to speak, and yet nothing, not a tweet, not an interview, not even a vague comment. Fans had begun asking the same questions. Why hasn't Jennifer Lopez said anything about the man she once dated? Rogan echoed the concern. Is she scared, or does she think it's not her responsibility? Either way, she's protecting someone who's now facing some of the most disturbing allegations in the industry. Joe called out the culture of celebrity protection. These people live in bubbles. They protect each other because they think fame makes them special. But it doesn't. Not when lives are ruined, not when young stars are manipulated. He turned the focus back to Diddy. This guy didn't operate alone. He was enabled, he was supported, and people like Jennifer Lopez gave him credibility just by staying quiet. Rogan brought up Cassie's lawsuit, the raids on Diddy's homes, and the freak-off tapes. All of this is coming out now, but where was J.Lo when it was all happening? She was there, not just in the photos, but in the background, in the rooms. And that, Joe argued, was the problem. You don't need to be in the footage to be part of the cover-up, you just need to say nothing when it matters most. He compared it to others who finally came forward about Harvey Weinstein. There were actresses who admitted they stayed quiet because they were scared, but at least they admitted it. Jennifer hasn't even done that. Rogan played a montage of Jennifer praising the industry, talking about how much she loved working with certain people. Joe acknowledged that Jennifer had built a huge empire, music, movies, fashion, but that doesn't give you a free pass to ignore reality, he said. You can be talented and still be part of the problem. The podcast shifted into uncomfortable territory as Rogan suggested Jennifer's silence might have been strategic. Maybe she didn't speak up because she didn't want to lose brand deals. Maybe she thought staying neutral was safer. But when you're neutral in a situation like this, you've already picked a side. He said what many were afraid to say. Jennifer Lopez protected Diddy with her silence, and that silence hurt people. Rogan read comments from fans who felt betrayed. They looked up to her. They thought she'd stand up for the truth. But instead, she vanished from the conversation. He made it clear, this wasn't about trying to cancel Jennifer. This is about accountability. If you were close to someone who did terrible things and you said nothing, you owe people the truth. Joe didn't buy the excuse that Jennifer was just young or just dating. She wasn't some outsider. She was on tour, in the studios, in the limos. She saw the same parties that others are now calling out. You don't get that close to someone like Diddy and not notice the red flags. Rogan said, if she really didn't know, then she wasn't paying attention, but I think she did know and just looked the other way. By the end of his rant, Rogan wasn't just angry, he was disgusted. Jennifer Lopez had the power to speak up. She had the platform, the fame, the reach. And yet, nothing. Not a word. He leaned into the mic and made it clear, protecting Diddy, even through silence, is part of the problem. This industry needs to stop covering for the predators, and if J.Lo's not willing to help expose the truth, then she's choosing her side, and it's not with the victims.